The first person who taught me about survival was Lee.
What'd he teach you?
How to say goodbye.
This is bad. This is very bad.
Shut up, bitch!
Oh my God!
Do what must be done, Lord Vader. Do not hesitate, show no mercy.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and I'm back for another Walking Dead video. So if you guys were unaware, Clementine Book 1, Chapter 1 just released literally a couple days ago, and I uploaded it on my channel. So if you guys missed that, make sure to check it out. That's what I'm mainly going to be discussing in this video. So this is going to be my review of the first chapter of Clementine Book 1, as well as some of my thoughts on some other things that I didn't get to show in that. There's an interview with Tillie Walden that I am going to absolutely rip a new one into this complete debacle of a potential storyline I think that is being set up. I had fears that something was being set up, and this interview almost practically confirms that fear. And I'm going to show it because I didn't show it in the actual Book 1 thing for a reason. It wasn't really part of it, but there were additional pages at the end that I didn't get to show. So I'm going to talk about that probably first before we get into the pages. Again, Chapter 1, in my personal opinion, before I go into it in-depthly, was not that bad. It was okay. There are some moments, and again, more dialogue that I think is absolutely cringe that Clementine wouldn't say. And, you know, there's some other things. You know, the artwork is still just abhorrent. I can't stand it. But we're gonna get straight into this interview to start. So, you guys know I'm pulling no punches. You've seen my intro. I'm not holding back here. There's no more. I followed with Clementine the comic, being that it was 12 pages. I held back a little bit for good reason. But this time, there's no stones unturned. I'm going to be laying out my honest opinions and thoughts. So, if you guys do enjoy this, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new. Join about the near 50% of people are subscribed by hitting that red subscribe button. Please turn all post notifications as well. Join about the near 100,000 people that got all notifications turned on. You want to have those on. And we got the new feature called Super Thanks. So if you want to donate and support my content, hit this heart, and you could throw $1 or $2 and support the content. Thanks. Nearly time for us to figure out if there's any salvaging of this potential disaster story. Alright, so let's get straight into the interview with Tillie Walden. We'll have a lot to discuss. Alright, so before I start this, no hate, please, to Skybound or Tillie. This is going to be criticism. I'm okay with criticism, but please, keep it a criticism. Do not harass them. I have a lot to discuss regardless. So, alright, Q&A with Tillie Walden. Tillie, you're known for writing and drawing your own characters. What made you excited to take on this project and dive into Clementine and the world of The Walking Dead? By the way, this is also at the end of Chapter 1, so I just want to make that very clear. I was excited by the prospect of entering the world of The Walking Dead, mostly because it felt so different from all the other work I've done. All my past books have been loosely autobiographical, pretty quiet, pretty sensitive. The idea of bashing into the heads of walkers and writing characters who are shaped so deeply by survival sounded fascinating. And of course, in the process of working with Clementine's character to make these books, I found so many connections between her story, the apocalypse, and my own life. Let's take very, very sincere note of the words "my own life," that a lot of her stories have been autobiographical, and that these characters are so deeply surrounded by survival. Now, what is the meaning behind Vermont? You guys want to know where Tillie Walden lives? She lives in Vermont, according to her website. Huh. Autobiographical, meaning she writes books about herself. Don't you think there is some kind of connection to all this, that the place where Clementine's going is the place where Tillie Walden lives in real life? I don't think these are just coincidences. How about the frickin' person in the trailer that Clementine's supposedly romancing? What is weird is the fact that this person in the trailer looks oddly familiar to Tillie. I don't think that's a coincidence either. And these other interview questions kind of further my belief that there is a high probability that this is either a self-insert or a character that is highly inspired from Tillie herself. Your process as a writer/illustrator is a little different than most, you don't say. You don't do scripts and instead prefer to just dive right into the layouts. Why do you think this helps you? God, I hate scripts. I feel like a cartoonist. Our skill is in synthesizing the drawing and writing process. If you separate them, then in my mind, I'm not really making a comic anymore. Of course, we outline the book before we start, mostly so my editor knows I have some idea of where I'm going. But then, like you said, I go right into making a draft of the book. Without scripting or thumbnailing, I think this process works for me for a few reasons. One is that it forces me to build the story visually right from the get-go, and often my best moments of writing and plot are inspired by an image I draw. Another reason is that it's faster. This is huge since we're trying to bring a Clementine book to people each year. Well, there you go. It's confirmed. We're going to be getting a Clementine book every year. Unless Skybound has some common sense and axes the series after this first book, which I'm hoping, if book one does falter and fail, that enough of the community uprise and the sales will be that bad that where Skybound is going to have no choice but to axe it. Because honestly, do we want to have our next 3 years of Clementine and the Walking Dead Telltale stories be continued like this? Absolutely not, if book one is as bad as I think it might be. I think the final reason is that by writing and drawing at the same time, I naturally create a lot more space for the art and include a lot more silent spreads than I think I would be inclined to if I was scripting drawing of the beach. No text, doesn't sound lovely in a script, but when I see it, I can feel it and I know where it belongs. Alright, so we want to know how Tillie supposedly plays the games and stuff. Let's see. What's your favorite or most memorable Walking Dead moment from either the comics or the games? Like almost everyone, season 1 of the game stays with me heavily because of Clementine's relationship with Lee. But I actually think a moment from the games that has stayed with me the most is when Kenny loses his son and wife. It totally threw me, and I struggled to relate to Kenny's character for a lot of the games, but damn, I was crushed for him. Huh. Well, you know I've been saying, oh, she probably picked Jane. Well, there you go. I'm not stupid. Look at this. This is literally like she's... Come on, man. This is... I mean, what the hell? Really? I didn't relate to him. Well, that's obvious. You picked Jane. You had a Jane Clementine. It's obvious. Or you just did the loner one. Either way, scumbag to the max. What would you say are some of your biggest influences? Kind of like movies, games, etc. as an author. TV shows are a big inspiration for me. My mom worked for HBO for 30 years. I grew up watching shows that maybe a little beyond me, like 6 Feet Under when I watched in middle school. My dad, TV is so visual, it taught me a lot about storytelling as of late. Shows that have really inspired me are Unbelievable, The Handmaid's Tale, Unorthodox, Euphoria. You may notice a common theme between all these. Women, queer people, mixed in with trauma and conflict and survival. I just love it. I love TV. The fact that they get to use music in their storytelling is probably the one thing about comics that breaks my heart. I wish my books could have soundtracks. I can't imagine how bad the soundtrack would be for this. I'm sorry. Oh, man. Alright, so other than the first one, pay attention. This last one's kind of, you know, very hinting of things. How do you think you'd fare in the zombie apocalypse? Well, like one of the characters you'll meet in the book, my biggest vulnerability is my vision. Ding, 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 ding! Ring, ring, ring! Ding, ding! What the... Are you serious? One of the characters in my book. Who's the one that has glasses? The one that looks exactly like her. If her name begins with a T or rhymes with Tillie, I'm gonna just lose my mind. I think I'm gonna lose it. Because she won't directly say, oh, this is, you know, this is me self-insert in the book, but highly inspired, don't you think? Without my glasses, I am completely screwed. Well, there you go. That confirms it. Glasses. And right now, I've only got one pair. So assuming I don't have any more prep, that could be a big problem. I have a feeling my glasses would get knocked off and broken the first 3 months. What I do have going for me, however, is that my wife and I live in the woods in a rural part of Vermont. Well, there you go, Vermont again. Our house is on a hill with a lot of height around us to see people coming. And you notice that this story is also surrounded in the mountains. Hills. You're seeing just like, is this like Tillie Walden's like fantasy world of bringing herself into the world and just having Clementine interact with it? It's a joke. Honestly, I can't believe that I'm reading this. Like, our road is hard to find. There is a lot around us to help us survive. Animals eat wood for fires, and our water comes from a well. So if there's a well in book one, well, there you go. We got that. I think about this a lot. I think that the key to survival would be banding together with the other people who live around us and finding some way to create a barrier within the woods and hills so walkers can't come at us from all angles. So in conclusion, I think I have like a 50% chance of surviving the first year. If I made it a year, I think I could make it for the long haul. Alright, so that interview is just full of, I mean, I can't even really describe it. Is that once we see this full book one, I'll be able to, you know, say it in total. Because, again, we are not meeting this new character. We did not meet them in the first chapter. We probably won't meet them until later on in the book. And I don't know the whole... I'd love to see how Tillie's going to explain why Clementine's going to Vermont. Because the only valid reason, in my opinion, to leave AJ in the school and all that is if Krista showed up or some past character that she has a emotional connection towards. But it's obvious. I'll say 3 things based on the interview. A is that character in the trailer, highly inspired or a self-insert, confirmed. B, this story is being tailored around Tillie Walden herself. The whole plot, the setting, some of the characters, her own things. It's ridiculous. And 3 is that we're getting a book every year. Whoop-de-frickin-do. Alright, let me just talk about Chapter 1 really quick. It's not that long, about 10, 20-ish pages. I'm going to go through it really fast. So Clementine Book 1 resumes after the events of the comic Clementine Lives from last year, where Clementine had left AJ to go on this perilous journey to Vermont for whatever dang reason. And we get to see Clementine, for whatever reason, going by herself with the peg leg and the crutches trying to fight walkers. You get to see her stab walkers, kind of cool and stuff. But the point is, it makes no sense why Clementine would go by herself with only one leg. It really doesn't. And a lot of the pages that we saw in the preview pages that I've shown were in this Chapter 1. You know, the whole fact that Clementine met up with the doctor. Clementine went to the Amish settlement. I like to see that. I like to see, you know, things like that are very interesting. The whole Amish community and stuff, but Clementine's not going to stay there, so we'll never get to know that. You know, that whole storyline is really interesting to me. And then there's also the fact, Amos, he's present, famous Amos, whatever you want to call him, is present in that city, so his rumscaprenage, remember I referenced that in another video, he's making a rumscaprenage, and he wants to fly a plane or something. I don't know the whole gist of it, but we don't know why Clementine has this map, why she's so dead set on going to Vermont. There's got to be something, and if they don't confirm in this book, oh, you're going to have to wait for book 2 next year. We don't give a dang. Just explain what the hell is she leaving AJ for and doing all this, because it makes no dang sense. And we got the nostalgia flashbacks trying to make us so connected to the story. Listen, you're not going to, Tillie, you're not going to throw these flashbacks at Lee and just say, oh, that's going to make everything better. It's not going to, honestly. And then we see these Amish girls, and one of the more cringe-inducing things is where Clementine mentions her period, and I don't like that. I don't like how they do how she says it in this. Again, the whole emo Clem thing is just being shown very present in this. But you know, pretty much how this chapter ended was that Clementine goes to the doctor, gets her new, you know, prosthetic set up, leaves, doesn't really thank anybody, and goes and sleeps on a tree. And that's pretty much it, leading up to the full book next month. Pretty much, I'm going to say Chapter 1 wasn't bad. There were some good characters, like the Amish people. I was pretty interested with them, but like I said, the dialogue's cringe. The artwork still looks crappy. I'm not really, you know, it's not bad. Again, better than the comic, but again, that's not saying really anything, because the comic was just a disaster. So, initial impressions, not bad. But, based on the interview, and some other stuff I know, we're setting up for a potential disaster here. And I'm nervous, no doubt. Very nervous. So, that's my quick review of Clementine Chapter 1. There's not really much to discuss. But let me know what you think about it, because I've already discussed most of the stuff in the preview pages that we got, so. Alright, one more thing we're talking about, the Skybound Games XPO. That is literally in about a week. Skybound XPO Games 2022 lineup announced. Clementine, Russell Quest, Escape Academy, and Before Your Eyes headline new Skybound XPO games on May 20th. So, Skybound is going to have a gaming-centered event. All new programming, limited edition merch drops, and exciting announcements streaming on Skybound's YouTube channel on Friday, May 20th. The Expo will celebrate 10 years of beloved character Clementine, star of the hit Walking Dead video games from start to finish. Tillie Walden, acclaimed author and artist of the upcoming Clementine Book One, will sit down with comic superstar Ryan North to discuss her hugely anticipated graphic novel, Ha! You wish, and reveal the very first details of Clementine Book 2. They're already going to be revealing Book 2 before Book 1 releases. I already sense a disaster coming. And reveal the very first detail. And Dave mentioned Dave McCrae's variant cover of Clementine #1 will highlight Sean Big Clutch Kirkman's biggest comic vault of 22 and Expo will kick off the release of exclusive new Clementine merch that fans will want to miss. So I guess new Clementine merch, but if it's related to the comics, get that crap out of my face, please. Alongside the iconic Clementine Expo will debut a program that features the stars of new upcoming video games from Skybound. Hopefully Walking Dead related. And they talk about other stuff. Expo grant fans can't miss panels across Clement's vast network, blah, blah, blah. It begins at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. So chatting Clementine with Tillie Walden, award-winning author Tillie Walden, from the Skybound Expo stars in North, discuss her hotly anticipated Clementine Book 1, reveal versatile sequel and what it's like to work on one of the biggest properties in pop culture. And she also can mention that she's ruined it as well. And this canvas panel of any Walking Dead fan. I mean, there's really nothing else. Oh, join host Woody Tondorf. Anything for Skybound Games Awards. They've looked amazing slate of upcoming Skybound Games releases. So if there's anything Walking Dead related, this is probably your best bet. But this is going to be May 20th. So literally in about a week. It's 8 days away. That will be next Friday. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. But that's the Skybound Expo. Alright, so we are almost a month away from this potential disaster. And this is a little taste of what you're going to get in my live stream on the 22nd and my review. If it is bad as I think it is. Not very excited based on what I've read here. I mean, yes, very good that it's better than Book 1, but at the same time, like I said, y'all better be ready. It's gonna be fireworks next month. That's all I have to say. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Help us on the road to 325k by hitting the red subscribe button. And I'll catch you guys for information on the Skybound Expo next week, pretty much. So, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Peace.
I would buy a brand new house where we can go. Take it from me.